At this place in history, we're in Montpelier at the State House and with Executive Director of the Vermont Historical Society, Steve Perkins. Steve, we're touching on the State House today.
We are. There are so many stories in this house, and of course, everyone in Vermont can come visit it, which is really cool. So we're going to look at some hidden history of the State House that maybe you haven't thought about or have never seen before.
Hey, I'm excited. Let's go inside.
So Amanda, we're inside the State House, and David Sheets, who's the state curator, has joined us to do a little tour for us today.
Sounds good. David, where in the State House are we right now?
We are in the card room, and this, during the legislative session, is a very busy place because it is booked by organizations that use it on a daily basis to trot their stuff. The members of the legislature refer to this sometimes as the gauntlet because the House chamber is adjacent, the committee rooms and the cafeteria are in these directions, and they have to kind of run this gauntlet on a daily basis, hoping that they won't be held too long by the people who are trying to secure votes for something. You know, it's how the State House works, right?
Is the card room original to the State House?
It is part of a wing that was added to the west side in the rear in the 1880s, and it was built in that time to provide a new home for the State Library, which moved out of the Cedar Creek room, and then a new home for Vermont Supreme Court on the lower level. So the Vermont Historical Society also joined the State Library in this very space. This was the reading room for that library for many years, and it was decorated in part with the help of former governor, at that time United States Senator Redfield Proctor, who gave fireplaces for both the Supreme Court chamber and what we today call the card room. And he was also the owner of the Vermont Marble Company. In fact, he had created that company essentially by buying up little marble companies all over the area around Rutland and creating this monopoly, essentially, of the production of Vermont marble. So what better item for the new State Library than in its reading room to have this magnificent fireplace that is essentially a salesman's sampler of all the marbles produced in the state of Vermont. So it has a lot of brick, it has these magnificent brass andirons, and most important of all, the overmantel is the salesman's sampler. Samples of every single variety of marble that could be found within the boundaries of the little state of Vermont, which is pretty amazing. Some of the better known samples are from Swanton. The Swanton Red that you can see here was very popular back in the 19th century. This is the well-known Rochester Green that we have in restrooms here at the State House. Danby White, of course, which is on the floors of both the Vermont Historical Society Museum, but also the main lobby of the State House. But an infinite variety of marbles that we never see anymore because, of course, they're no longer quarried. But back then, they were trying to make these marbles available throughout the world, and that is essentially what built the reputation and the bank account of the Vermont Marble Company.
Gazing into a grand fireplace.
At this place in history.